possibility, let's focus on some good old urban legends. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, aka the Queen of Urban Legends, and today I'm bringing you the top 10 scary time travel urban legends part 2. And this is part 2, so make sure to check out part 1 as well. It's equally as creepy. Starting off this countdown, we have the Air Marshal. Back in 1935, Air Marshal Sir Victor Goddard just so happened to time travel by mistake. So legend starts with Victor flying over the decommissioned Royal Air Force Station in Scotland. He described the base as being completely abandoned, but on his return trip home, while flying over the same spot, he encountered a huge storm. When it cleared, he saw that the base was completely in use again. The once abandoned airfield was filled with planes and mechanics moving about. In fact, he claimed that some of the planes he didn't even recognize. But within seconds, the storm reappeared and he had to fight to keep control. He did manage to make it home safely, but wondered what the heck he saw. So it's believed that he got a peek into the future. In our 9th spot, we have Andrew Carlson. In 2002, Andrew Carlson, an investor, managed to turn his $800 worth of investments into $350 million, all by trading in high-risk stocks. But this seemed all too suspicious, and he was arrested for insider trading. During his interrogation, he told investigators that he was a time traveler from the year 2256. He offered to exchange information on the location of and the cure for HIV/AIDS in return for a lesser punishment, and if they allowed him to go back to his time machine. But he refused to tell them the location of this machine. Of course, without proof, investigators didn't fall for this nonsense. But what makes this case creepy is that a mystery person posted his bail, and then he left and was never seen again. In fact, records show that he never existed. So coming in at number 8, we have the Iranian time machine. In April of 2013, an Iranian news agency posted a story claiming that a 27-year-old Iranian scientist had invented a time machine. They claimed that this machine allowed people to see into the future. Apparently, this device could fit into the size of a computer case and could predict details of the next 5 to 8 years of the life of its users. But legend goes that a couple days later, the story was removed. In its place was a story from a government official denying the existence of such device. Or so that's what they want you to think.
Thank you.
Some believe that that was the government's attempt to cover up the existence of this device. So it could just be that the machine is really out there somewhere. But would you honestly want to know what the future holds for you? I wouldn't. Just let it be a surprise. In our 7th spot, we have Alien Barbie. There are some people out there that undergo extreme surgeries and body modifications, like Lizard Man and Leopard Man. But today, we will be talking about the human Barbie doll. Valeria Lukyanova is known for looking like a real-life Barbie. But in a 20-minute documentary on YouTube, she revealed that she's not human, and in fact, is a time-traveling alien. Yep. So legend goes that she came to Earth to save the world. What's she saving us from, you ask? Negative energy. Yep. And she has a goal to transform humans into human demigods. I mean, that's kind of cool. I want to be a demigod. But like, I don't know what to think about this one. Making our way down the list at number 6, we have Liverpool. According to this legend, over the years, Liverpool has had a lot of strange things happen on Bold Street. According to one woman, she was out shopping at a store and tried to buy a gift for her sister, but the workers refused her credit card. When she went home to complain to her mom, the mom said that that store hadn't been around for years. Later, when she returned to the same store, in its place she found a bank. But that's not all. Legend goes that a police officer was out and about when suddenly he traveled back in time to the 1960s. Suddenly, he was surrounded by a bunch of stores he had never seen or heard of before, and the newspaper he found had the year 1960 printed on it. So somehow they both traveled back in time. Our 5th and halfway mark with Donald Trump. Now, I did mention this in one of my past videos, but it deserves to be on this list. It has to be one of the creepiest time travel urban urban legends out there. So legend goes that Donald Trump and his son Barron Trump are both time travelers from the future. Legend goes that Trump traveled back in time to become the ruler of America. These theories arise after someone discovered 2 books on the Office of Congress Library website. The books are called Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey and 1900 or The Last President. Both were written in the 1890s by Ingersoll Lockwood. The book Barron Trump is about a young boy who finds a secret portal and time travels. Both books have eerie connections to Donald Trump and his family. First off, the book is called Barron Trump, and Barron Trump is the name of Donald Trump's son. Coincidence? I think not. But it doesn't stop there. At one point in the book, he was guided by a man named Don, aka Donald as in Donald Trump. And then in the book The Last President, it's about an unlikely presidential candidate that won the election. Sound familiar? Even freakier, the book talks about the 5th Avenue Hotel. The address of the hotel in the book is the exact address where Trump's tower currently stands. It gets creepier. In the book named Laugh Pence, who is the Secretary of Agriculture. Come on, like, hello, the Vice President is Mike Pence. There's just too many similarities between the books and Donald Trump's life, so people believe that this book was actually written about Trump and his family. It's too creepy. In our 4th spot, we have the Bermuda Triangle. So the Bermuda Triangle is kind of a giant mystery on its own. In fact, some believe that people don't necessarily go missing in the triangle, but instead are somehow transported in time. So legend goes that one day 3 ships were traveling through the Bermuda Triangle when they entered a mysterious fog. When they emerged through to the other end of the fog, there were only 2 ships. The other ship was way ahead of them. The crew aboard that ship claimed that the fog transported them back in time several years. There they saw a bunch of different boats and passengers also sailing. Then they approached the same fog and got transported back to the current day. Spooky. In our 3rd spot, we have Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was a painter, sculptor, inventor, engineer, architect, and time traveler. So legend goes that Leonardo da Vinci is a time traveler, hence why he is often considered way ahead of his time. So legend goes that Da Vinci went back in time to steal others' accomplishments and to make a name for himself. Another version of is that he went back in time to help advance the world. Like, this dude was a genius. He knew more things than anyone else did in that time period. For example, he drew pictures of a helicopter in 1493. That's around 450 years before an actual helicopter was created. But not only that, he had the idea for an armored fighting vehicle, aka tanks. And he also invented the idea of a submarine. He talked about ships that could travel underwater, and he even sketched designs of them. So how did he come up with all these modern day inventions and more? Because he's a time traveler. Coming in at number 2, we have LC. Back in 1969, a man named LC and his associate Bob, clearly these are both fake names to protect their identity, they were traveling along a highway in Abbeville, Louisiana when they approached a very old looking car driving on the road. The car was clearly an antique and was driving fairly slow. What was strange was that the car had an orange license plate with the year 1940 printed on it, which was weird because that type of car can't be driven on the road unless it's for like a parade or car show. So they changed lanes and drove beside the car, and inside they saw a woman dressed in a vintage dress with a hat and fur coat. There was also a child in the car, also dressed in clothes from the 40s. When the woman spotted their car, she started to panic and pulled off to the side of the road. The two did the same and pulled over in front of her. But when they looked back, the car was gone. So legend goes that somehow they traveled to the past, or that that driver traveled to the future. And in our number 1 spot, we have the man from Torrid. Legend goes that in July of 1954, a well-dressed man arrived at the Haneda airport in Tokyo, Japan. Nothing was odd about this man until he was questioned by the customs officer. The man then claimed that he was from Torrid, and it was his 3rd time visiting Japan from his country. However, there is no country named Torrid. His documents, like his passport and IDs, were all authentic, but it said that he was from this mysterious place called Torrid. They eventually took him into custody for further interrogation, thinking that he was a criminal. He was placed in a hotel room that had only one entry and exit point. His door was monitored by 2 guards, but somehow this man mysteriously vanished. The thing was, he was put up in a room high up in the hotel with no balcony. So there's no way he could have escaped. So some people think that Torrid is a real country but in a different universe. Or that it's a country in the future and he's a time traveler that mistakenly landed at the airport. And that's all for today's video. Let's